many of you got an opportunity to review Sunday? You did, you did, you did. Any questions, any thoughts, any comments? You're excited. I'm glad somebody is excited up here in the room. Anybody else have any comments? Did you all get the chance to go back and review yet? Some of it? Still working your way through it. It's a whole lot of information. Yes. From Sunday? Oh, well, prior to any of that, we were sitting down at a table having dinner or something. And to our surprise, that's Lady Donna and my surprise, they had already started working on how to raise the money. Right. So they had figured out what they thought the approximate budget was for the put up the building. And they had thought about, we need about 30 people to give this amount of money a year for 3 years, and it would be paid off in 3 years' time. That's what she was talking about. Yeah. So, she did. That equals about $1,000 a month per person if we only have 30 people. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was just wonderful that somebody was already thinking about it and said, we're not going to be holding on to this bill, this debt for a long time. We're going to get this paid off. Amen. So, Sir Jeffrey, I'm going to put some of that up tonight. Is it going to do what's on? You need somebody to go back there. We can't say that over the camera because somebody might say there's something in it. He went to get mine. Amen, amen, amen. Any questions? I thought it was just real intriguing how the Lord is just bringing pieces together, and I'm just grateful for that. As you know, we have guests coming in as of Friday night. That's going to be quite a service. We are so looking forward to that because when she was scheduled before, that was in the year 2020, and the pandemic hit, and so we had to shut all that down, and it's just been just a time getting that rescheduled, though we did facilitate a stream interview with her. Amen. And that was good, but it's nothing like having her here in person. So we're excited that she's coming. Again, we kept her over for the weekend so she could have some time to just spend amongst the family here, and she's excited about that. Just to remind you that there is going to be a fellowship dinner on Sunday. You don't need to bring anything, just need to come. It's all going to be all set up and ready for you. Just be prepared. Now, if there's other people coming with you like a tribe, we probably need that kind of information, so we make sure that we have kind of plenty here. Y'all know what I'm saying? All right. So in the PowerPoint that you saw on Sunday, I just happened in my first meeting with a Kathy friend. She is our contact down at the Historical Society. She said, I'm waiting on you, sir, and I know you boiling. All right. She said, I found this, and I just thought it was intriguing. And she pulls out this old piece of letterhead, and I have the copy. What you saw was a copy of my copy, but it's just old and it's raggedy, and the caption on it just caught me. You know how you hear something and you don't quite know how it's connected till you get down the road a little bit, and I think it was Dr. Muriel that was here, and I thought about that piece of letterhead. And then I went on this journey with our letterhead, and you'll see some stuff up here tonight of where some of that came from. Amen. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there in my office, and then I'm looking at these 3 scepters that are sitting in my office. It's just, yeah. It's just something. Okay, sir, you ready? And I'll try to dialogue through this. Look, I'm not trying to keep you here all night. I'm just I've got so much information. Now, you think I've got some? Prophet Connie has the everlasting gospel. So I just got bits and pieces, and these are just some of the pictures that we dug out. Matter of fact, Sir Jeffrey sent a couple of these to me, and I just think that they are intriguing. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years. Probably I need to take that out and put 100 years in there, all right? In the wilderness to humble thee, to prove thee to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no, all right? So, And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee to know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord doth man live. The next one, and it says, we remember. Yeah, we remember. Next slide up. Okay. This is intriguing. Can you all see that? The grounds are still turned over. It is, I guess it's a site picture of what the building looked like in the early part of its construction. And if you kind of get up and close, you can see there's no driveways. There's nothing leading up to it. It's just dirt. Isn't that cool, Al? Well, the very next shot, see it? The dedication day.
September 11th.
Uh-huh. 1921. At 2:30 p.m., the Oak Knoll Sanatorium, Tazewell County, Mackinac, Illinois. So they actually dedicated that facility on 9/11. All right, so we're right on target. We're about a year off, right? 101, but I think that's close enough. All right. Next slide, please. Let me see. Oh, boy, you all can't make this out. That is what the center circle looked like when I first came. It says, despite good intentions, Lilly Ministries draw suspicion of Mackinac locals. This article was put together by Cindy Tharp. Cindy Tharp and Don Tharp were the senior pastors of the Mackinac Christian Church at that time. And she specifically wrote this article to dispel some of the myths that were still happening, all right, in the community. It said it is a non-denominational church that's doubled in size since its reorganization in 1992. It consists of 325 members, of whom are from Bloomington and Peoria, and the remaining outside the Mackinac area. Just a lot of interesting information. I know y'all can't make out that there in the center, but you see those big overgrown trees there right out to the front? Well, that's what tore up our gutters on the front. I remember somebody had great joy when we cut those down. They're in the room sitting back there in the back in a burgundy red shirt. They're back there, though. All right, just in case you didn't know who I was talking about. But this is a very, very interesting article that's, and I've got a lot of those. Matter of fact, I thought I brought up. Yes, sir?
What year?
1995. Yep, 1995. Yep. Next, please. I think I'll lay them out on the table so you can see them. I bet you can't tell who's who up in here. Look at this. That was out on the front. That's what the church sign used to look like out there on the front. You see who's who up in there? Y'all can't make it out? Am I blending too much with the background? Y'all can say it. No? Okay. Can you guess who these individuals are over here? Guess who that is? I can't hear you. You can't see him? Can you see who's next to him? I'm going from right to left. Well, that's Joanne Dean on the end. I'm going from left to right. Joanne Dean, Kevin Battisher, Michael McVeigh, me, Kendall, and Apostle. Kind of scary looking, isn't it? Yeah, they're listed it there. Joanne Dean, Kevin, Michael. Look at Dr. Chuck back there, the suave guy with the glasses, the dark bearded one. Yeah. Says, Danny, here's something you might be interested. 2 years ago, Lilly Ministries tried to buy the Mackinac Train Depot, located just out of Mackinac Main Street. The Mackinac Historical Society, however, was unable to furnish clear title, so Lilly Depot was returned. That's what they said. So they couldn't. The Historical Society owned the building, but they didn't have clear title, so that's why they say we didn't get it. But somebody got clear title. Somebody else is in there now. That's all I got to say. All right. Next picture, please. All right. So this is the old church building in Lilly, the town of Lilly. Okay. Now, since that time, it's got a red roof. The building is still there. There was an addition put on the back. Wasn't that the kitchen and the bathrooms, Daddy-O? Yes. Oh. All right. You see off here to the side? The church was organized in 1837 by James Lindsay. All right. It's a lot of good, interesting. It says here in 1968, the church became Lilly Bible Church. Okay. The building was built in 1881. All right. I think that's interesting. All right. Keep going, sir.
What was that in? Is this
Huh?
what is this in, a newspaper or
The Mackinac Gazette?
Gazette?
Is it the Gazette? Yeah, you'll see it up here in a minute. All right. So this was a storm on one of the New Year's, and I couldn't find the date on here. But you see all the trees that are now missing? Okay. Let me see if there's...
It's still Oak Knoll, so it's before.
Yeah, it was still... These are some of the patients' room, and I'm trying to say, it looks like this was the male wing. This was the male wing. That looks like a female in that bed. So the female wing was that one, and the male wing was on this side. Beautiful. Next. Now, this is one of the things I told you about. Can y'all read that? You want me to read it for you? Read it. The Lilly Christian Church will celebrate its 111th annual homecoming on Sunday, October 17th. This was recorded in 1948 by the Mackinac Enterprise Gazette. Okay? The Reverend Edmund Zera Mackinac in charge of the service. A basket dinner will be enjoyed by all at 12:30 p.m., followed by fellowship services at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Paul Shermer, prominent of the Church of Pica, will be the afternoon speaker. Other special numbers will be presented. The program committee is composed of Herman Nelson, Wallace Burks, George Rickett, and Earl Parmalee. Parmalee had a gas station down in town. All right? Remember that? All right? And this one here talks about the Lilly Community Club. I guess this was attached to it for some reason. But there's another one, and maybe it's the next slide up, sir, that talks about, that's Dr. Fass. He was 98 when he crossed over. Wow. And still living in Mackinac. Let me see what it says about him. He was, is it Princeville that's north of Dunlap? Princeville? Folks? Okay, y'all can. He was from Princeville, and I told you that Mackinac had a hobo that lived down in the community. And he was from Princeville also, and they wondered, you know, how they get from Princeville, because Princeville was a smaller town than Mackinac. So how did they get over here to Mackinac? What drew them here? And for him, I guess it was the hospital. We don't know how the hobo got here. Say that again. Did I hear somebody? The train. He just jumped the train. Oh, you all got some imagination. Okay. Keep going. I don't remember where they stopped. Now, this was interesting. So this was written June 10th, 1985. It's addressed to Guy Fons, who was the pastor of Lilly Chapel then, by Builder Service and Supply. This is the bill for the construction of this property. Guess how much they paid for this? Huh? Nobody want to take a stab? What do you think it would cost today to build it?
To build what?
This shell.
This?
Yes. $31,135 in 1985. No, and it's a 60 by 70 by 20 single slope structure. It includes the roof pitch, loading, 20-year roofs. And there wasn't a 20-year roof system because it's been bad since I've been here. Also included, you see some flashing, a permanent building, the present building to the new roof. That was a problem. And then so I guess I don't have the bottom of this. It said something about the weight of the steel that was in there. Can you see it on your copy?
Go back one, Brian. There it is.
There it is. Almost 35,000, right? Weight of steel. And what I like about it, this work can be completed in a good workmanlike manner for $31,000. In 1985, that's incredible, right? I don't know if you can put up a garage for $31,000, right? Nice, interesting tidbit, right? And I found the old zoning permits and stuff from the county and all that stuff. It's just juicy information. Okay, next, please. I'm not sure where these start. How much?
That's it.
Oh, that was too fast. Wow, 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 wow. Make me want to go get some of those articles so you can see them. I don't have them here. Do you have any questions for me?
Bishop, if you want to, I can package these up and send them out to the congregation, because I know Angela was taking pictures of the screen. It'd be easier if I just sent the images if everyone wanted them.
Would y'all like that? Yes, no, would y'all like that? Okay. You're not going to try to sell them online or anything like that, are you? Okay. I believe we were debating that date. I want to put it around, me and Danny start talking about 1978, somewhere in there, 77? Yes.
My sister got married out here in October of '79 under Guy Fawns. And
Uh-huh.
it was, I was going to say grapefruit, but no, it was,
Grapefruit.
whatever it was. I think it was Lily then.
Yes. It was still Lily when I got here.
Ministries is what I was trying to think.
Yes. There was a season that y'all familiar with the Vineyard Ministries? John Wilbur, if I'm saying his name right, came to the area to try to see if this church fit the pattern, the mold for a vineyard, and it did not. And so it remained Lily Ministries, but I believe it was right around that time those cell groups popped up in Bloomington. And so the solution to it was to plant these cell groups, and they didn't go too well. So I'm thinking about, structure, the town, vineyards normally open close to a greater population, you know. And, I mean, if you want to count the ears of corn in the pasture, I mean, that would be something. But it was just not enough people and not enough cultural diversity for their church, okay? So that was, so I'm guessing about 1978 is when they moved in here. And did you tell me they were in the fellowship hall? Because you was here for it, so why am I talking, Danny? Where were they holding services at when they came? To the chapel?
Yeah, when my sister was married. Yeah, when my sister was married out here in '79, we came to church a few times, and it was down in the chapel.
Uh-huh.
They held a reception down there too.
Okay. So did you ever come out into this spot when you were here? There was a staircase that came off that foyer down into this ground. Did you ever come back here? Okay. Okay. Any other question? Yes. No, it was the same group. They were trying to turn this into with a name change, because when it was Lily Chapel, it was connected to the Calvary Chapels with Chuck Smith, Costa Mesa, California. You've heard that name before? So when I came here, let me back up. When I met some of the members of the church, it was Lily Chapel, and Chuck Smith was in Crawfordsville, Indiana. That's how I met them. I went up to one of those meetings, and that's how all this kicked off. Isn't that something? You know, and I had listened to Chuck Smith many times over the radio and stuff like that, so I had this image of what I was going to see. And when I got to that meeting, I was like, oh, for real, this really can't be what I thought it was. And so I'm disappointed, but then met the people here. And by that time, Guy was gone, and they were having a conversation. They were praying and going through a pulpit candidacy to fill the pastorate. And Jim Otto was the then assistant pastor, and Jim was pretty much feeling like he was going to be a shoo-in. And then the church I was pastoring in Cincinnati, we were feeling a transition, and we had prepared a weekend shut-in. So I invited some of them to come down to be with us in that shut-in. So they came down, and while they're down, it's like, you're supposed to go back with them. And I said, go back where? And they said, and that just felt the prompting saying, you need to get in the car and go back with them. So I got in my car and drove them up here. And that was a Sunday night. Our service ended Sunday night, so we left Cincinnati Sunday afternoon and started heading to there. Now, I heard about Peoria, but Mackinac I couldn't find. So you missed all that in the teaching. I started describing them, saying something about a bridge and a river and all that stuff. So I was unprepared for the creek. It's not even a creek, for the creek in the little bridge. Yeah, but nonetheless, we are here. Any other questions? No? Yes? At the building set, yeah. There was a period of time, I want to say somewhere in the middle 60s. I've got an article that said that they were deliberating if they were going to close the facility. They deliberated for almost, yeah, Jeff?
Some of that information I sent you still had people, obituaries saying that they passed here in 71.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So probably in
Yeah. Well, see, there was some deliberation. I think the last article that I saw that they had about 20-something people here, and by that time something in Peoria was open, and they wanted to shut this one down and move everybody to that facility. So whatever was on the docket, there was a lot of scandal about if they should leave it open and shut it. So that must be the period. Oh, he's got his hand up too. Did y'all hear what he said? So, did you hear what he said? That this was the health department as well as the tuberculosis sanatorium, yeah. Part of it. From what some of the people in the historical society had told me, they remember coming here to get the shots and vaccinations before Dr. Fast started actually going to the school. So what you're saying is probably right. But it would have been confined in that middle office, in that middle vestibule area, and then the first office, because the next room was the x-ray room, and you couldn't get any further than there. Yeah. Any question? All that's intriguing. I think that's all juicy information. Yes? Yes? I came in the fall of 1987. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I came twice. Actually, I came 3 times. My first visit was following the people up here, following that prayer meeting, right? Went back to Cincinnati. I got here on a Sunday night, went back to Cincinnati on a Tuesday. Got a phone call that week about running the meeting, and that meeting was set, I want to say that meeting was set for November. You remember? Anyway, came to the meeting. The meeting was going to run from Sunday to Sunday. By Tuesday into the first week, I was in the office with then the inter-board of directors, and they were trying to establish me as the pastor of the church and want to have a meeting the following Sunday. And that Sunday, the church from Cincinnati was coming up to join it. I said, we can't have that kind of meeting with these people coming from Cincinnati, and they don't know a clue, and I haven't told them anything. So I ended up going back home and coming back 2 weeks later for them to have their official voting service. All that, I think, happened in November, if I remember correctly. All of 87. Yeah. So as of from January to March, I commuted sometimes twice a week back and forth from Cincinnati. Yes.
How many were there in the congregation when you got there?
Oh God, buku. It was a sea of individuals here. 150, 200 maybe, something like that. Does that sound about right, Danny? He's here. Yeah, that's about right. So that vote was unanimous that Sunday, and everybody was congratulating. And then I went home and I started officially as of January. I started moving stuff. So when I just wouldn't come up alone, I would bring stuff, store it somewhere until things happened to move. And the last trip was in March. I was coming through Indiana and got ran off. Indiana was bad about cleaning their roads, and I got ran off the road by a semi, 360 in the air, and landed down in the ditch facing the opposite direction. So I called them. It wasn't that organ. I had an organ, and it was in the trunk of that little minivan that I had. It was jam-packed. The Leslie, the organ, everything was in the trunk. Not a scratch. I got up, hopped in the car. Somebody came back. They pulled it right out of the ditch, and I kept driving. So I missed the meeting that night, and they said, "That's it. We're going to move you in 2 weeks." That's what happened. That wasn't juicy either. I thought it was a juicy story. Yeah. That's how that happened. Okay, and we lived in the house that Marcus. That was our first home. 93, 94. What happened? Scared, wasn't it? Oh, you felt like that, huh? Okay. Well, you came after the storm of '92, so it was a much better place then. Yes, Aretha. Then Elder. Yes. On what? Because I'm the book. No. Nobody has approached me about a book. I'm still writing it. I'm still living. So as long as I'm living, the book is being penned every day. No, but I think it would be an interesting read. There's a whole lot of people that are curious about, well, how did that happen? And Sunday I was moving so fast, there were key pieces of some of those steps that I left out because time was constrained. Again, I lived it. So to go back, you're watching people, you say, they're just terribly bored with all this stuff. They're not interested in all this kind of craziness going on all the time. That's how I feel. For real. Come on. Where you going? Come on. Come say it. Spit it out. Come on. Say it. You're there. Okay, we got you. Yes. I think you ought to consider at least outlining, and we can fill in the blanks. That's a lot. Yes. Okay. not have got here. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I'm sure that would be a good story. Yep. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
And that, and you know, it all interties with all of us, because
There we go.
Cindy and I wouldn't be here except for the Stones, because Cindy knows Diane from a long time ago, and we went to their wedding, and basically they started coming out here to see you. They told us, well, you got to hear this teaching. We're in transition at the United Methodist Church I grew up at. We were youth leaders there and all this, and we just, you know, there's got to be more than God than three hymns and 3 points in a prayer. We came out here, sat in the front row for 2 years straight, and, you know, so it's interesting how things, you know, flow. God sets the thing, had that underground stuff going on to prep things, and,
Right.
and
That's good.
got us out here.
And you came in what year?
Well, we started coming in the end of 92 and became members in January of 93.
Is that because we never opened the doors of the church?
I have no idea. we did come after the fallout.
Uh-huh. That was August of 92. Yep. Dr. Chuck, Elder Kendall. And what year did you come? And tell us your first experience.
When we first came, you were gone. You were on vacation. And Tom Lentz was ministering. And the worship was just, I mean, it was powerful. The place was packed. And after that first service, we knew this was where we were going to come back. And we came back the Friday night because Prophet John Sartucci was here. No, it was 91.
No. We were already part of the church when we went up with Zartucci and all that. I remember John Zartucci.
Okay. And the next Sunday we came, Joy was blown away because you were at the front door greeting people. That was scary. but we knew that this was a place we were to be.
In November of 1972. Well, it was just the building. The building down out there wasn't that big, and we pretty much outgrew it. Actually, we needed more space.
Uh-huh. Okay. Keep going. You're doing good. So you moved into the building, and a lot of work, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't get involved in a lot of that. I was still working for a living at that point, and
You're still working for a living. All right. And you remember the Sunday I came. Were you here?
yeah.
Okay. And scared to death, weren't
You mean the Sunday you came? Because you came didn't you come as for a week as like
Ran a revival for a week.
a revival? Yeah. And then the next thing I heard was we were going to be voting on whether to have you as a pastor.
Scared, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was great. Because we'd been going with just like temporary fill-in pastors for about 2 years, I think, and it was getting kind of old.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, you recovered, right? You're still here. You're okay now.
I'm still here.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Yeah, you've been on the worship team as long as I can remember. Right. We hit kind of double of everything. And then, but what Danny's not telling you, Danny played for a group called Lily Lights, okay? So he was busy playing, and they would invite him in to do specials here at the church. So when I came, Danny's right. We had 2 or 3 of everything, a whole bunch of singers and stuff. And matter of fact, that led itself until we had 2 worship services in the Sunday morning service, right? For a season until we can transition the worship area. Yes, Tina.
Oh, my mind is all over the place. Just whenever somebody will say a year, I think where I was at, and then how I end up here. But for you, how was it for you coming here? I'm going to speak on you're a black preacher coming from a Baptist church, correct?
Yeah, but I was Baptist detoxed by then.
Okay, I get it. I was too.
All right.
I get it. Yeah.
Thanks, Neil, for filling in the blank. Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine the revival. Everybody's pretty kind of laid back, comfortably dressed. I'm in robes.
Right.
By that time, I'm ministering. I'm in robes, and it's like full blown. It was my upbringing, experience, banking, school, all of that caused me to see multicultural different than my other colleagues. So when they were busy saying, when you gonna change that Lily White name on the church? And I said, Lily White what? You know, and it's not that I didn't notice, it was just not an issue for me, all right? Now, it was for my family, okay? And the times that the difference of the culture would show up would be in worship. Our people started clapping. Our people started moving. Then it was like, oh, no, we on a 2-4 and this is a 1-3, you know. So that was adjustment. And then the music started changing. And the music was developing its own sound and style. And there was a few that thought I was trying to bottle a specific culture and make everybody drink it. I was neither. I was trying to adapt to what was fitting the house. Dress was another issue. I remember some people upset that I said, like summer, people would dress for their activity after church. They wouldn't bring clothes and change. They just would wear them. And some of that was just not appropriate. And that became an issue. So it was a lot of little stuff like that. But I wish I'd brought that. Coach Shaw, I want me to tell you, this picture was taken in 1969. This is an aerial view, and you could see how many of the trees were left. Somebody said that the trees that would line the driveway going this way around the church were actually imported here from Japan. They were a special type of tree that you couldn't find that was not native to this area, and that's why they didn't last. So I found a picture, and in this picture, I'm sitting at the table with Prophet Connie, with Bishop Michael Dantley. I don't know what was going on. I think it was our first 1995 Leadership Summit is what I think it was. But some of that stuff I'll show you, and you know, I don't even look like me. I don't even recognize who was at the table. But Prophet Connie looked just as wild on that picture as she does now. But it was some juicy stuff. The transition had to do with what was going on internally in me and in the people. And there was just a series of adjustments from 87 to 92. And the one in the 92 was probably the most intimate because it involved individuals that I lived with, stayed with, and still friends with today. You know, and it was just ugly. So that's when things started really changing. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yeah. I got another one.
Yeah, all right.
So were you leading worship when you first came here, or someone else was doing worship?
I started. Guy Fahn's wife, Judy, was a worship leader. And when they left, worship was wide open except for I guess she would not be your sister-in-law. Carol Huff played. Carol was, she was your sister's sister-in-law, okay? Carol was the heavy-handedest player I've ever seen next to your husband. Carol was heavy-handed. And so we would have two services. She played the piano, and then I was playing organ. All right? So we brought the organ, and I would do organ with all this, and the organ was loud. It drowned everything out. So we started having two worship services. We'd start that one, and then I would come and we would just go a little bit deeper. And then I came over here and started playing over here. And then, yeah, I've always been involved in worship. Mayo, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. You see what he's pointing to? Yeah. I wish they had took that shot from the back so we could see what the back looked like. Yeah. Go up to the latest one. That is the latest one. Boy, that tree. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Nothing else for me? God bless you all. We're going to put an offering basket to the back, and we will see you all Friday night. Okay. Come ready.